What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I am overly excited to have who's now becoming a familiar face here on the channel to talk about all of these amazing projects that we have going on. Mr. Matthew Lillard, welcome back.
Dude, I feel like you're my daddy. You're my whiskey daddy. I feel like our journey started with the Nerd Immersion, and we are still crushing it with you. I do. I mean that. You have a very soft spot in all of our hearts because we did start with you, and you were a huge lift for us. And I am forever grateful, and I will always answer your call.
Well, I appreciate it, and today is a big day, which a lot of people didn't know was coming, and I mean, obviously, it's a Thursday because that just makes sense. But we're here to talk about the newest collaboration, or the first collaboration, I guess, with Quests and Whiskey, and now Critical Role, which, I mean, that is just something I didn't know. I think it's even in the trailer. Something I didn't know I needed, but I couldn't be happier to see. So, how did this
Uh,
come about?
yeah. Listen, we're excited. We've been sitting on it. No, we've been working on it for like 8 months, right?
Mhm.
And um, and it's thrilling to be, the reaction we're getting already has been through the roof, which has been awesome. It came about because when we launched Critical Role, I was sitting with the licensing guy, a guy named Jason Kletsky, at lunch, and he's buddy. We're friends, and I was telling there's a group of us, and I was telling everyone about the launch of Paladin,
Mhm.
and Jason at the end of the meeting said, at this lunch, hey, would you guys be interested in working with Critical Role? And I was, you know, just like, what are you talking about? Would I be? Yes, of course. I mean, that would be a dream come true, for a lot of reasons, and I think that you know them all. But just to reiterate, I think that they're the sort of the preeminent streaming show, obviously in this
Mhm.
space, but the way they represent community, the people they are, the storytellers they are, the ability for us to sort of collaborate to grow,
Mhm.
to grow organically, right? This sort of like makes sense for Quest End, and to just to build something different and cool based on their IP was a dream come true. So we said yes. They came back to us and said, "We wanted to put together a couple pitches." Um, we have one of our collaborators, a guy named Chris Daly, who's a critter
Mhm.
through and through. And we're like, hey, what would you like? How would you approach this? And we didn't want, like, the one thing about how we operate is that we want to build for community. We want to build shit that's cool for people.
Sure.
The last thing we want to do is slap a logo on something and be like, this is critical. Like, we wanted to do something in world, and something that made sense. So Chris, his credit went out and created like a 10-page dossier for everything ever drunk by any character in the show. And season 1, episode 65, the crew, Grog goes to the shade and it says, I want your best drink. And Mercer does this big elaborate description of the bottle and this green glass and the wax on top. And they drink it and it tastes horrible and all their faces go numb, and it's a hilarious beat. And so we thought that that was a great jumping off point. We went out, recreated the bottle. We built this flavor profile. We worked with a woman named Ali Ochoa, who's sort of a liquid magician,
Mhm.
and watched the clip. We talked about it a lot. We talked about the community. We talked about the world. We talked about, you know, like sort of what the show is like. And then she went and interpreted it. And so then we pitched it to them. Critical Role's been incredible partners and sort of yes and us across the whole journey.
I mean, yeah, it seems like every time, this time as well, it's just, I don't know, we don't talk about this ahead of time, but every time I get a flavor profile description for each one of these, it's like I didn't think you could design it more for me specifically, but each time it's just like, here's all the things that you like, we're gonna roll it into one drink, and it's a bourbon on top of that. Yeah, so I remember watching that episode of Critical Role live when it was happening, and then to see that, I knew exactly when I saw the name exactly what it was going to be, and to the fact that this is again so designed to be the in-universe uh creation. How does this differ because obviously with Quest End there's a story and a whole thing that's going on, but that's original. You're creating that, and you're in the teams designing that as you go. Whereas this is kind of recreating an existing product. So
Mm.
and an existing universe, right? You're building all this story because there's going to be this journal that's attached with it. So how does it differ when you're dealing with something that's already established versus kind of making it your own?
Yeah, great question. So certainly for Critical Role, the world's super established.
Hmm.
The story we're telling it's a found journal. It's 44 pages long. Um, Jasmine Billar is the writer. Tyler Wolpel is the artist. Devin Rue is the cartographer. So we
Sure.
took people very familiar with the Critical Role world and brought them in. And we basically gave them, our whole approach to working with creatives, because our team is built of creatives, the
Hmm.
leaders of art are, of Find Familiar. I'm an actor, Justin's a writer. Our whole approach to working with creatives is like, hey, bring us, like, give us four hooks, tell us which one you like the best. And Jasmine did. She came and was like, these are four ideas. We sort of circled the one that she liked and that we liked. We then took it to Critical Role. Critical Role was like, yeah, we love that idea. We then, she beat out the story. We then took that back to Critical Role. They gave us approval. And Jasmine went off and wrote it. And through that journey, Tyler was a part of it all the way. Like, what
Hmm.
about this? What about adding this? I see that, sort of like visually interpreting what Jasmine was writing, and along comes Devin, who's like, "What if we did the desert?" And so each piece of it is original. Each piece of it's set in the world. It takes place around the shade. The story is, the hook is like the first person that goes out and bottles
Hmm.
Sandkegs, these huge monsters that are in the desert. And fermented bile is what
Hmm.
Sandcake's hide's made out of. And so it's the journey of sort of that discovery is captured in this journal. But for us, it's like, look, hey, we want to, our whole mission statement is to make the experience of purchasing Sandcake's hide a love letter to people that are critters, and that's
Hmm.
and that's what we're trying to do with Quesan. That's what we're trying to do with we have other brands coming out, other verticals that we're launching. But our thing is like finding community and building luxury around that community and giving them something that celebrates not only them but what they love. I mean, that's sort of like our business model, right?
Sure.
And so the great thing here is that the critter world is so rich, and there's such like a committed fan base
Hmm.
that there's a lot of pressure to deliver for them.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so, right. And so, bringing in Critical Role every step of the way, making sure we had the right people telling the story, and then really like blowing this thing out so that when you open it, it's an experience.
Yeah, I saw from the description. I mean, obviously, it's the bottle, it's got the medallion, it's distressed, it's in the burlap bag. Even down to the box that it comes in is all custom crafted to give that in world experience that I know all the critters are definitely gonna want to have, which is just, it's a lot of people don't think about the box that things are going to come in as being part of the experience, but even that's just that more little step to just make it that much more of the premium whiskey that it is going to be. So,
Yeah, it's the beginning of the story, right?
right.
When it lands on your doorstep, that's the beginning of the story. So, and listen, on top of it, it's like premium juice. Like the idea of like, can you create um an incredible whiskey experience to go along with the storytelling? And Ali Ochoa is incredible. Like, to what you said earlier. I mean, it's cast aged in barrel aged in sherry finish and vermouth to give it that sort of herbaceous vibe, and sort of create something that feels like the desert. It was a trick, but she's great.
Yeah.
She's a magician.
No, I mean, again, if Quest's End is any a testament to what this is going to be like, I can't wait. I have seen a couple people saying if it doesn't make my tongue go numb, I feel like it didn't really do its job.
You
But
just have
yeah.
to drink it faster. Just drink it fast. I will say this. One of the interesting things is that we are doing so. Allie has put together her four favorite blends.
Mhm.
And tomorrow, today's Thursday, tomorrow we are driving out and hanging out with the cast,
Oh, very cool.
and they get to choose which iteration of those blends gets into the bottle. So
Well, that's, I mean, how much you couldn't get more Critical Role approved than the cast being the ones to
I mean,
decide.
that's we thought that that was a fun sort of like, and we were gonna do it virtually, but our team's flying in. Allie's coming in. Allie just accepted a huge role at Jefferson Whiskey, so she's now the master blender for Jefferson, which is a huge
Sure.
distillery. Um, so she's a rising star. She's really excited about the blends. I haven't tasted the blends yet.
Oh, exciting.
And so we all get to sit down tomorrow, and I'm hoping that they'll let us take some pictures so that we can capture that for the world.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, like I said, that's, and not to just keep, I mean, I'm gonna keep commending Quest and Whiskey, but that's the kind of experience that you're getting here. I mean, you could have just said, here's a bottle and sent it, but no, let's take four and say, hey, which one does the cast and, agree is the best representative of this? And obviously everybody there got to experience it as they played through it, and then to get to put a taste to that experience is going to just be, I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that,
Yeah, I mean, look, my hope is that, and I think we should do this. I'm sort of thinking this out loud, but I feel like we should do like silent voting. Like, don't
mm,
talk, and everyone sort of fills out their favorite, and then like, because I'm a little, it will be interesting to see if there's a whole split room, and then what
sure,
happens. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But look, at the end of the day, our whole mission statement is to make things at Find Familiar Spirits, is to make spirits that we're excited about, that we can deliver to a community that gives them an experience that that they feel like seen.
hmm
And this has been one of those like rare experiences where we're building for a community we want to celebrate. There's incredible tapestry of storytelling elements that we can add. And hopefully people love it and they sign up. It is interesting that I do want to, every time I do these interviews, I keep saying this. It's only for sale for 3 weeks,
right, yeah,
um,
very
which is
limited run,
different. It's very different than any other sale. It's we kind of operate in a way that once you find it, buy it because it's going to go away. There's
right,
a window of opportunity because we're not big enough to mass produce. So we
right.
have to produce the numbers. So it's a little, we're nimble and small. And so that's how we sort of manage numbers. But that's the one thing. If you're out there and you see this, go sign up on the mailing list. And we're also sending out sequentially. So we'll have a certain number of bottles produced early that
hmm
will go out as soon as the sale ends.
right.
They'll start to ship pretty quickly. Everything else will have to be a little bit of a pre-sale.
And I guess that's in to that point, because I do see a lot of people saying like, oh, if I could just, it'd be great if I saw this in a store, I'd pick it up. And just again to reiterate, the nature of this being a small nimble company is this is a direct to consumer market. We talked about this in the past, right? It could have flopped right out the gate with the Paladin, but it's been, obviously there had to be Paladin plus one because Paladin sold out so fast. So this is the nature of direct to consumer marketing. You want it, it comes to you. That's how this works. And I know that's just a little bit different than probably the way a lot of people handle with their spirits in the past.
Sure. Yeah, sure. And that, we're just to compete and get shelf space is difficult in the market as is. And retail is very difficult to make profit unless you're making like it's the amortization over, tens of thousands of bottles. We just don't do that. We do very limited numbers and it's definitely something to signal.
Sure. So yeah, it's again, it is a short window, but you're not only getting the booze itself, you're getting the experience and everything that comes along with it. For if you're a critter and you're a collector of these kinds of things, you're gonna want to have this in your collection because this might be the only shot and then it'll be gone. So, but more importantly, I'll say I'm excited that it sounds like this is, and I know you probably can't talk about anything going on in the future, but this is maybe the first of collaborations we'll see with other groups in the future, which is just a really exciting thing to see. That it's not just what you guys are designing, but you're looking to help provide that awesome experience for people that are looking to just buy cool stuff. you know?
Yeah. I mean, we look, I think that we're launching something new in October, which I've alluded to a couple times. That's a tequila. I mean, it's sort of like, letting you know it's tequila. And that is built on a whole different fandom, a whole
Sure.
getting away from sort of RPG, sword and sorcery, high fantasy, and it's a whole different fandom. So within that, we want to find these outliers, these stories that we can tell within that different vertical. And then continuing over the next 3 years, we're going to launch 4 sort of flagship brands that are that are telling stories for communities that are different than this one.
And
But yeah,
that's
so there's we were approached by a bunch of TV shows. There's been a couple movies that have come forward and said, would you want to do something here? And so for us, it's really about how do we add the extra beat of lore, the extra something that fans love, and is there a fan base? We have to be excited about it. We have to have an in to be able to create something that's in world or gives fans something else. And then the business has to make sense. Like, what is
right.
that sort of proposition?
And
But
yeah,
there's, yeah.
oh no, I was gonna agree. And it's, it's to that point, like you said, it's not like you're just there to just make something and slap a label on it and just put product out and move on, right? It's not like, yep, offer comes in, let's go and make something. You want it
Yeah.
to be something that's going to be worth your time to go into, and then there's going to be a fan base around it that's going to want to pick this up. And I
Yeah.
think that's important too, because right, it could be so easy to just go ahead and make a bunch of products for whatever.
Listen, we have to have our core value, I think, is building communities and having having authentic
Mm,
products that authentically speak to an audience. The last thing we want to do is transact on people's passion to just take money. We
sure.
want to see your passion, give you something that acknowledges that you'll enjoy. And the minute we start just slapping things on bottles, we're done. I mean,
Right.
we'll sort of not be able to do it for very much longer.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's a rarity, right? In today's society with awesome, cool products like this. So I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Thanks.
I'm not a huge tequila guy, but I'll be looking out in the fall to check out what goes on
I
with
like it
that.
though. I promise you'll like it. It'll be good.
I wouldn't be surprised if I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we hit kind of all the major beats here. Is there anything else you want people to know about what's going on with Sandkeg's Hide?
No, not really, other than to say, it's been a just absolute joy. It's been thrilling to see the response today. I mean, we launched today. We launched at
Yeah.
9 a.m. We pushed the button. We all sit there and watch the numbers sort of come in. And it's not even for sale yet. So, the one thing I'll say is that in this moment, look, if you're a critter and you have friends out there that are interested, like I said, it's not going to be on for sale for very long. So, just, I don't know, just help spread the word would be great. But that's a humble request. I mean, we're doing the best we can to sort of get out there. Matt is going to do a reading on the show next week,
Hmm.
uh, or 2 weeks when it goes on sale. So look, that's the one thing is like, we are only going to be as successful as much as people know and are interested. So yeah.
I mean, and again, it's the 30th, I think, is pre-sale of
Yep.
April, and then general sale is just a couple days later in
Second.
May, 2nd of
Yeah.
May.
Yeah.
So again, don't just think about necessarily for now, right? You want to talk about a great holiday gift, or you got a critter friend out there, you really want to blow them away, especially if they don't know about something like this. You'll be the real winner if you're bringing home something like this as a gift. So or obviously just keep it for yourself and enjoy it yourself. That works too. So
There you go.
well, thank you,
Well,
Matt.
dude, thank you. You're the papa of like the launch of our company.
Well, I again, I
Did you
appreciate.
see that you're seeing
I
on
did.
your
And
website? Yeah.
I actually, what's funny? I saw that, and then I started getting comments on the video from today saying, "Hey, did you see you're on their website as well?" So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool to see. So I appreciate that as well. So be on the lookout, folks, for as many times as Matt and team want to talk. I will obviously give them a platform to do so because there's so many great things to discuss coming up. So be on the lookout for that when it launches. So
Yeah. Awesome.
links in
Well,
the
thank you, man.
description as well for all this if you want to go check it out. So all right. Well,
Dude, I like the gray. Like that's an early gray, bro. That's like
you know,
Rasputin. That's Rasputin type shit.
it's children, man. That's what they do it to you. Just slowly eat away at it. So, all
That's
right.
good.
Well, thanks everyone.
Thanks, brother.